All right, what's up, MisFIT family? Welcome to your Monday night team call. It is me, not Joelle. My name is Shakti, and I am the founder of Team Meta Movement, which means unconditional love and kindness, and that's very intentional. A huge part of my work in this business has been bringing compassion to the world by way of this business. And so I've attracted a lot of really compassionate, amazing people onto the team. And one conversation that's really been on our mind is how to bring this movement, this mission that we have, and create real results, not just for ourselves, but for other people, in transforming every part of our life. So yes, we are a health and fitness company, and that's our mission, and that's the core of what we do. But for us, it also became about transforming everything: their relationships, their interpersonal relationships, their relationships to themselves, to their mindset. We are very, very heavy on mindset and understanding how the mind works and how the mind works in your favor or tries to sabotage for self preservation reasons, right? So how many of you guys, by way of show of hands, are familiar at all with people like Dr. Joe Dispenza or Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, and understanding how consciousness affects matter, how your mind, how the energy that you produce in your mind really affects your material reality? Anybody here like really familiar with that? I'm not seeing a ton of hands, so maybe not. Maybe this is kind of new. Okay, a few hands. Okay, so a couple of years ago, this would have been like woo-woo stuff, and you would have been hearing this and be like, all right, girl, where's this gonna go? But it's no longer this. Like in the time that we live in now, what we are learning through the study of consciousness is that the only way that you get actual results in your life is through understanding the power of your consciousness and how your brain literally creates a result in its reality. So I have a quick question for a second. I want you guys to think about a result in your life that you have wanted, whether it's in your personal health and fitness journey or in your business, that you have not attained for whatever reason. Just think of a result that you were going for that didn't happen. You can write it down or you can just think about it. And use the chat feature here. I want you guys to tell me why you think that result hasn't happened for you. Like, why do you think you haven't had that result that you want? I'm curious to know what you guys think the reason is that that hasn't happened. Okay, feeling of fear. Lack of action. Not focused. Lack of focus. Okay. Success fear. It's pretty common. It can't happen the way I want it to. Interesting. Okay, stories, lack of belief in myself. Okay. So some of you are like hitting it and some of you are like around it. So we're gonna get there in a second, but okay. Okay. So how many of you guys have been in a conversation or you've heard a video where you're talking about how a leader has achieved a result or a certain amount of success in their business, and they're like, you have to think like the leader? How many of you guys have heard that in a training? Like, you have to think the way that they think. You have to operate the way that they, okay. So that's pretty common. A lot of you guys have heard that in a training. So it sounds like a lot of you guys understand that some of you guys gave a feeling first as the reason why you think you can't progress. But what I want all of you guys to understand is that your results are not a reflection of the inaction or a reflection of the feeling. It's a reflection of what you think, period. Period. And the reason, right, we find ourselves in this place of frustration with not attaining a result, even when we are attempting to think the way we imagine a leader would think, or we are attempting to embody what a leader that we admire would embody, the reason that that's not yielding us a result is very, very simple. And this is a distinction that I want you guys to note, okay? I want you guys to notice, I'm gonna write it down so I can show you guys. This is like really terrible drawing, but right? Thought, feeling, action, result. Thought, feeling, action, result. That's actually how this works, right? You have a thought, it leads you to have a feeling. The feeling leads you to take an action or not, and then it gives you a consequence or a result, okay? We look at successful people, right? Things that they have accomplished, a result, and we say to ourselves, okay, let me imagine what that person thought so I can like get in their head and then I can like feel that way and then get that result, right? This is a lot of the traditional training we have on how to embody leadership. But here's what I'm going to offer you that's a distinction. That's actually quite impossible to do because the thought that motivates them to stimulate a feeling, to lead to an action, to get that result may not be the thought that motivates you. Let that drop for a second. This is where the disconnect can often be in a result, okay? So this is what I want you guys to understand about results. And I want you to get this for you and your clients, because your clients depend on results. This business is about results. How many of you guys have had people join your challenge groups or join your business, and then they're like, it's not working? Like everybody's hand should be flying up right now with frustration and partial rage, right? Like if you're honest, right? And you're like, what do you mean it's not working? I've done it, it works. I see it work, right? So why does that happen? Why is it that you can tell someone to do the things that you do and they don't get a result, whether it's in their program or in their business? It's because of this distinction that I'm sharing with you guys right now. Okay, their thought about what's happening is controlling everything. So what has to happen is a combination of reverse engineering, which some of you know because you've done it with goals, and this thought model that I just gave you guys of thought, feeling, action, result. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. If you were to chart this little thought model, right, TFAR, at the bottom, if you have pen and paper right now, I want you to write a result, right? Like, what do you want to accomplish? And you can help your clients do this. So this is actually very valuable material for you to coach your people with as well, whether it's a coach on your team or your clients. Let them figure out what result do they want. In this instance, you're going to do it for yourself. What result do you want? Is it a rank advancement? What is the thing? Is it a certain amount of income? Is it a certain weight loss, 20 pounds? What is the thing that you want or that they want? Help them identify what the result is. Then the next step to that is you're going to go upwards on that model. I want you to figure it out, because this isn't the hard part. What actions need to happen for that result to happen? Everybody knows the actions, right? Like if you want to lose the 20 pounds, get on a nutrition program and do it. Like finish it. You'll lose the 20 pounds, right? Start a program, you'll complete it. Do your power hour every day. You're going to move. You're going to go somewhere. It might not be necessarily where you want to go, but you're going to go somewhere if you're actually doing business activities every single day, correct? Anybody confused about the actions that they need to take to get the result that they want? Anybody like, I have no idea. Any idea? No, right? Everybody's like, no, I know. I see smiles too on the screens. Everybody's like, yeah, because it's the action is not, but what is the first reason you give for not being able to have a result? What's the first thing you guys say? I don't know how. I don't know what to do. It's not, how many of you catch yourself saying that? Like, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how. Or your people say that. I don't know what to do, I don't know how. And you're like, did you watch any of the training videos? Like, did you see the program materials? It's like, it's there. It's like laid out. It's real simple to follow, right? And you're confused. Why they're confused. That's the first thing we say is we don't know how. The action is the first reason we're going to give for not being able to do something. And then when we want to fix the problem, when we find ourselves trapped, the action is the first place we're going to go to fix the problem. We're going to be like, oh, we need more action. Right. How? The how thing is like, oh, more action. Yeah. Just like, oh, let's just give more action. If I just restrict more, I'll lose more weight. How many of you guys have done that? Let's be real honest with you guys. Like, be honest, I'll just work out more and then I'll lose more weight. I'll just eat less. I'll be more intense about my food and lose weight, right? That's what your clients are doing too. That's what your clients are doing too, and that's what your coaches are doing too. And you know what that leads to? It leads to burnout. How many of you guys have felt burnt out, not just in your business, but in your health and fitness? Like, be real honest. How many of you guys have reached a point in your health and fitness where you're like exhausted, where you're either not seeing results personally? Yeah, you're burnt, because the action is not the place you go to fix the result situation. It is the place that we're used to doing that from, right? And that's where your clients are doing that from too. That's why they're yo-yo dieters. They go from one diet to the next one to the next one, because they think their problem is what they're doing. That's what they think it is, just like we think that's what our problem is. After you figure out what the action is that you need to take, the very next thing you have to ask yourself is, how do I have to feel to get that done? How do I have to feel to get a power hour done every day? Be honest. How do I have to feel to be able to stick to a program and complete it? What does that feeling feel like? Is it that I have to feel calm? I have to feel patience? I have to feel excitement? I have to feel joy, focus, right? Like, what is that feeling that you have to generate inside of you to actually get yourself to do the thing? That feeling is specific to you, though. It can't just be like a general, don't go pick something like, well, okay, motivated. Like, do you feel anything when you say that? Because I sure don't, to be honest with you. That word does zero for me, but it's a very common word. People choose motivated all the time, and I feel nothing when I say that word, right? I have to feel joy. I work from a place of joy. Joy is a very strong word for me. When I say joy, I feel it in my body. You have to pick something that really generates an emotion. If it doesn't do that, it's not working for you. Joy is that word for me, okay? And then when you figure out what that feeling is, from what place do you have to go to be able to complete that action, then you get to design what thought you are going to think to get to that feeling. That's when you choose the thought. Because for me, I know I have to operate from a place of joy to show up to my business every single day. So in order to show up for joy, I have to think something like, it is such a privilege to work with my best friends. That's like a huge, that really stimulates me when I think that. It is such a privilege to get to work with my best friends. It is so exciting to me to see transformation in other people. Like, that gets me riled up, to see people do hard things and like beat their personal best. Like, that really gets me stoked. So when I start thinking those thoughts, like, it is such a privilege, this is so exciting, I have so much to look forward to. How do you respond in your body? Like, when you think those thoughts, really get into your body. This is very subtle, and for a lot of you guys, you're just like, this is words. It's not. This is how your brain operates. But when your primary thought, when you show up to your power hour, is, I gotta do this shit again. When that is your primary thought, every day you show up to power hour, what do you think you're gonna feel? Not excited. Be real. How many of y'all think something along those lines when you show up to work business? Like, I gotta do this again? Or you're like, I'll do it later because I got dishes and kids and things, right? Because you don't want to do it. The truth is, you don't want to do it. You're thinking things that feel uncomfortable. So you're creating discomfort in your body, and then you want to move away from that. Do you understand that this is how this works? Like, this is actually what's happening inside of you. The reason you give yourself ways out, it's because you're trying to avoid a feeling, okay? Like inviting. Let's talk about that, because that's the best example for this in the world. So the action is inviting, and the feeling for most of us is terror. Yay or no? Yay or no? Like, be real. How many of you guys feel terrified at the idea of setting a personal invite? Think of that number 10 on your scale, the person that's like a doctor or like someone that like a relative that you like really look up to is like really successful, and the idea of sending them an invite makes you want to like pass out. Like you might have an aneurysm just imagining that that's going to happen, right? That person. Okay. And hold the feeling now. What's the primary thought you have about inviting them? They're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think this is a pyramid scheme. They're going to think that I'm an idiot, right? Be real. How many of y'all are having those thoughts? You get that feeling that you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this, right? What are the thoughts? What do they sound like? Put them in the chat. I want to see what your thoughts sound like. They will ignore me. They'll think I'm annoying or dumb. Oh my God, if you get rejected, God forbid, Tanya. How dare they? The worst. Someone else selling something. I'll be one of those annoying MLM people. Okay. I really want you guys to look at your brains right now, because this is what's happening every time you go to send an invite. How do you think that invite is going to sound when you think you're one of those MLM people? It's going to sound like one of those freaking MLM people. That's exactly what you're going to sound like, because that's what you're afraid of. That's what you're trying to avoid. You're going to sound just like that. What you resist persists. You guys have heard of this? Yeah? That's exactly how that message is going to sound. If you deep down believe that you're going to be perceived as dumb, you're going to sound that way. You're going to like create a reality where you're not going to know what to say, and then you're going to stumble all over your words. How many of you guys have had that happen? You literally are thinking, I'm going to sound dumb, and then within 5 seconds you send a message and you're like, I don't even sound intelligible like at all. This doesn't make any sense. Has that not happened to you guys? Yeah, of course, because you literally told your brain sound dumb. You told your brain sound like an MLM person. You just told your brain what to do. Can you imagine if you showed up to a conversation and you were like, oh my God, this person is going to kill this business. She's going to crush it. She is so made for this. How would your message sound if those were your primary thoughts? Seriously. What would it sound like? It'd be like, girl, listen, we need to talk. Because honestly, I'm watching you online and I'm like on fire just watching your posts. I think you would crush this business. Have you ever thought of it? You're brilliant. Wouldn't your message sound like that? What if you received that kind of an invite in your inbox? Even if you weren't interested in working with that person, wouldn't you be like, she thinks I'm brilliant? Tell me no. Tell me, would it be like, some part of you would be like, this girl thinks I'm all that, right? Because the transference of energy is a real thing, y'all. It really goes over. What you're thinking in your mind affects how you feel, and it affects how you act, and it will affect your result. So I want to tweak this thing of telling people, think like they think to get their success. And I want to tell you, you need to do the actions that they took to have that success. But in order for you to get to a place that you want to take those actions, you need to figure out what your secret sauce is. Like, what is your thought and your feeling? What is the magic combination of thought and feeling that gets you wanting to show up? What is that? What is that thought and what is that feeling that makes you hyped about what you get to do? When you figure out that combination, the action is easy for you and the result inevitable. It has to come. That's just how, this is law of attraction broken down, by the way. Y'all who follow me know that I teach metaphysics. This is how actually law of attraction functions on a material level. Like, I'm breaking it down for you right now. People think it's you just think about what you want and it just happens. That's not how it works. You think, you feel, the feeling generates action. And then you take it and then you get a result. That's how that works. But it's understanding what your brain is doing moment to moment with its thoughts that matter. And when your clients are struggling to get results, this is how you break that down. You need to help them understand what they need to think and feel to get them to do the program. That. Because they're not getting that right now. They think the problem is the program. They think the problem is Shakeology. They think the problem is whatever. That's what they think it is. They don't see that it's what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and what it's giving them as a result of that. Some people genuinely think that they will never change. That is their primary thought about themselves. You could give them the magic pill and they would take it and it would be the one person it wouldn't work for. That's how powerful your thoughts are. That's how powerful they are. Their self-image is so wired that no matter what they do, no change. And the same thing is happening for you in your business and in your world. You've got to change how you see yourself, and that starts with watching your thoughts. That's where it begins. That's where results begin. It's not in the action. The action is a side effect. Just like the weight loss is a side effect, you guys. The weight loss is not the thing. It's what comes after. The same is true of your rank advancement, of your income, of your team, of all your things. But most of you guys don't realize how that tape of you feeling unsettled about being in a network marketing company is coming out everywhere. Like, you need to come home to your thoughts about the fact that you are a network marketing professional. You need to let that land. You need to watch your thoughts about that. You need to make peace with that and accept it for the profession that it is and that you chose. And when you feel chill there, that's not going to be your primary thought when you go send an invite, because you will be resolved. Your primary thought will be, this person would be amazing at this. I'm going to make her an offer. See what happens. That's where your mind will be. But as long as you have unresolved thoughts about your role here and why you're here, and you're not doing the thought work to figure this out, you will never be able to will yourself enough to do a power hour. It's never going to happen. Trust me, I tried for 18 months. That was me. I'll motivate myself with like things and like manicures and cake. To be honest with you, like that was like my thought process. I was trying to do what I do with my toddler. You know, you want an M&M if you use the potty. Like, I was trying to get myself to do the same thing, and it wasn't working. I swear to God, I was trying the same tactics. I'm like, it worked for a 3-year-old. It might work. But it didn't, because my brain was still like, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of a team. They're going to think I'm one of those scammers. They're literally going to think I'm garbage. Yes, you keep thinking if you just make more sales, you will feel better about being in an MLM. No, you won't. You'll feel guilty. You know what happens when you still don't feel secure in being in an MLM? You make sales, you get customers, and now you start feeling guilty. And I guarantee you, if you know the guilt is coming, you will keep yourself from getting customers because you don't want to feel the guilt. So you will on purpose prevent yourself from growing a team or getting customers because you don't want to show up for them because you're not sure about your role in this business. Does this make sense? This is really important that you guys understand what's happening. You are holding your success away from you because you don't think you're good enough, because you don't want to be responsible, because you have this sense of responsibility to your clients, to your team. So you're not sending the invites, and you're not doing the work that's required for you to grow, and you think that it's the business. That's you. That's what's happening. How many of you guys have done that? How many of you guys are realizing right now why you haven't grown a team or why you don't have clients? Like, it's just dawning on you that this is why that's happening. Yeah. Yep. Lauren just wrote, this is me for 5 years. If I just do more, yeah, I'll be more successful. It doesn't work. You can't force yourself. It doesn't work that way. The brain will not let you. It will always revert back to what it knows. Safe, familiar. That's how the brain operates. By the way, you guys, the familiar is what the brain deems as safe. not what you want. The new thing, the new behavior you're trying to create in order to have a new result, your brain sees that as a threat because it's unfamiliar. Like, this is neuroscience, okay? The new is unfamiliar. The familiar is safe, even when the familiar is destructive. Doesn't matter. So somehow you have to get familiar with the new way of thinking about the actions you take in your business. You get familiar with the thoughts that create the action, you have the result in the bag instantly, seemingly overnight. But if you know that there's going to be an emotional sacrifice, like you're going to feel guilt or you're going to feel shame or you will never show up to this business or to your own health and fitness at all. So let's get honest about what we're doing. Who wants to be coached about the thoughts they're having and why they think they're not having results? Let's talk about it. There's a raise your hand feature. Ashley, did you just volunteer yourself? you can unmute yourself if you want to be coached. Where are you? I have to go find you now. Where is Ashley? Yep, there she is. You can unmute yourself if you want to be coached. Ashley Ellsworth. Oh, okay. Or you can ask questions here. I'm just here to help you guys understand your brain. If you are not taking an action or you are finding yourself stuck with a result, like, let me help you because I am here. And this is something that I coach my entire team on constantly and my clients, and I'm actually very good at doing. So understanding how the brain operates. Who is getting frustrated with the result? Okay, Lauren's a good example. So Lauren and I have been working on this for a while because she had the messaging very strongly that if she just did more, she would see more. And that's very common. A lot of people believe that. But what's happening is when you do this, when you go take more action and your primary thought is, I'm not good enough, how many of you guys have found yourself in a position where you're taking more action from that place and it almost feels like you're not taking the time to qualify people. You're like sending desperate invites, the kind of invites that are like, you just like send them and run. Like you don't even want to like look at your screen. You don't even feel good about them. You don't even want to log them because you just have this like aversion to seeing what they said back to you. I have a ton of PS coaches, but I'm still not diamond. I feel like I have something that I'm not good enough for diamond or leading a team. And you would be right, Jenna. That is why that hasn't happened. Because here's what happened to me with rank advancing. That was a really big thing, right? Personally sponsored. That's what PS coach means. It means that you sponsored them. So what was happening for me when I was not seeing momentum in my team was that the undertone of my belief was I'm not a good leader. That was the undertone of my belief. I am not a good leader. So if this is for all of you guys who are struggling to support your team, I didn't even realize that dialogue was there. I consider myself to be a pretty self-confident person. I didn't realize that deep down I felt unworthy of being a leader because I didn't feel good enough. That was like a really low frequency. That was like lo-fi there. I could recruit, I could help clients, but when it came to helping my coaches be successful and plug in, it wasn't happening. So here's the stories I was telling myself, okay? And if this resonates, you can comment in the chat box or just like, let me know. I don't know why I should do X, Y, Z for them. I didn't need anybody to do that for me when I joined. I was pretty self-reliant. Why I gotta create all these materials for them? Yeah? Anybody else feel that way? I just looked it up. Why I gotta do all this stuff for them? Right? That was me. I was the same way. Yeah. Right. That's what a lot of us do who are really self-reliant and really like, you know, get to it. We just like figure it out. But here's what a leader actually does. A leader takes responsibility for every component of their organization. The first summit I ever went to, I heard Carl say on stage, if a broken bag of Shakeology shows up on someone's doorstep, that's my responsibility. Was it my fault? No. But is it my responsibility? Yes, because it's my company. That's leadership. A leader says, okay, let me look at my organization and see where I can fill in holes here. Not handhold, where I can fill in holes, where I can create resources that make sense to my people. Because not every resource makes sense to everybody, correct? You know that. Everybody learns differently. So when I began to understand and think that I was a capable leader, my job then began to think like a capable leader and embody this ability of I can, this feeling of capability, this feeling of servant leadership. I really leaned into my servant leadership. As a servant leader, how would I show up to my people and give them something that I know that they can serve? How do I swallow this pride that I have of everybody should just be like me? How do I swallow this thing? Because you know what that belief does? When you believe that, it keeps you comfortable because you don't really have to do anything. You're just like, well, the people we take will take, and the rest of the people won't. But is that really taking responsibility for your organization? Are you really showing up as a servant leader and providing what you feel you can to your community? So what I did is I created 2 PDF documents, beautiful PDF documents. One is a Getting Started Right PDF, which breaks down very simple components of the business that they could easily read through. One is an inviting PDF, which actually I'll share in here if you guys want it. How to invite to a warm and cold market the way that I do it. I decided to break down the way that I communicate with my community so that my coaches could see how I think. I basically took all of my thoughts, I put them down, and I gave them to my team. And you know what happened? They started inviting. Magic. They read through that PDF and it was like a light bulb went off. They were like, oh, I get it now. I was trying to tell them to just invite. I was trying to tell them in action, and I wasn't showing them my thoughts. I wasn't showing them what thoughts were generating the desire to invite. And as soon as I showed that to them, they got it. They were like, oh, I get it now. I have to think enthusiastically. I have to think about how excited I am for them. I have to think about how good I think they are. I have to connect the dots for them. Oh, that makes sense. If I just think about them and how good I think they are, I feel so great about it. It like changed their entire world overnight. I got the same feedback from like every coach. So this is what, to me, this is what a servant leader does, is you think about what result do we want, servant leaders? We want a team that is thriving, correct? We don't just want success for ourselves. We want the result of our team having success. So the action that a servant leader takes is we take responsibility for our organization and we fill in the gaps for them. We make processes easier for them. Processes that speak to our community because we know our team. We know our individual teams. We have to make resources for them, right? The thought that leads you to create those resources is usually one of, I want to be of service. I want to serve. I want to support. When you feel in service and supportive, you tend to behave differently, correct? It's a different energy stream. So I invite you, if you're a leader and you're stuck in this place right now of not seeing a team rank advance, how can you take a step back and instead of saying, well, they should be doing this and they have access to so many resources, why don't you take ownership of your organization and really ask yourself, how can I show up as a servant leader here and fill in the gaps for my people? How can I show them my thoughts? How can I bring them into my experience where I am doing this and having success and help them see a bridge for themselves? To me, that's like true servant leadership. But do you see how you have to think very different thoughts to get to that place where you take that action? It's not about the PDF that I made. It's not about the materials that I made. Those are helpful. But those materials came from thinking that I could help people. That's where those materials came from. I made those things thinking about, I want to be helpful to people. So when I think I want to be helpful and I'm feeling in service, I create something that matches that. Is this landing? Does this make sense? How it's very important that your thoughts are preceding any result that you want instead of more action. It's very important that you help your coaches understand this. It's so important because it changes your action. How you think changes the way that you act. Inviting looks very different for me now than it did when I was a new coach, and I was terrified. I'm still doing the same invites. Like, technically, some of my wording is almost exactly the same, but they feel totally different because I have so much confidence in why I'm doing this. So I think it's really important that you guys ask yourselves, like, do you feel certain in this business, in yourself, like why you're here? Do you feel certain that this is a business that you want to grow? Or deep down, are you still uncomfortable being in a network marketing business? Are you still uncomfortable being in an online business like this? You've got to resolve that. That needs resolution, and it starts with looking at your thoughts. The easiest place for you guys to catch this is with invites, because it's the first place it's going to come up. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to send this person an invitation, slow down enough to catch your thoughts about that invite. Like, really do that. Like, slow down and be like, what am I thinking right now? How am I feeling? Is my heart racing really fast? Is my breath really shallow? Come into your body. Like, am I shaking? Am I trying to like avoid this? Like, what is happening? And how can I get into a different place? How can I think something else so I can feel differently? I think this is too why we hear so many people invite 50 plus people a day and seeing success, because they have resolved. Yeah, for the person sending that quantity of invites and having a lot of success, 50 does not feel like a lot to them. It feels just like what they do. It's like, I just sent 50 invites. Like, they talk about it like they're telling the weather, right? But they don't have conflict about that. To them, it's just like, if you put yourself in a position where you're trying to send that same quantity of invites and you have so much massive resistance, it's going to be a completely opposite experience than that. So what a lot of people do then is like, well, then I'm not going to send any invites because I don't want resistance. And what I'm telling you is, work on your thoughts. Work on your thoughts. It's not, the action is not the problem, my friends. It's what you think. And then what you feel that prevents you from doing something. Okay, so we talked about leadership a little bit. Anybody stuck in like their weight, maybe, or like their body image? Like they're not happy, or they can't seem to like complete a program, or who has that story going on? I see Jess raised her hand. Do you want to type, Jess, or do you want me to unmute you so you can tell us about what's going on? Where are you? It's hard when you have all the faces. Literally, I was just in a slump and then MM100, so I committed to MM100 to be mindset and almost 5 pounds in the first week. Okay, Jana, brilliant. Okay. What were you thinking before MM100? Like, give us like an insight to like, what was your primary thought about your body and about your ability to alter your body?
Well, honestly, like ever since my ankle, my biggest thing was I just wanted to get back to working out. It was never really about a number. That wasn't what I was focused on. It was, I want to be able to go hiking. I want to be able to play volleyball. I wanted to be able to like do the super weekend or the workout at super weekend or super, oh my God, at Summit. So like those were my primary focuses. And then I did all of that in July. So then I was like, okay, now what? And so that was kind of when I recommitted to actually like really doing a program and kind of focusing more on that.
So let me ask you a question, because I'm a therapist as well and I work with injuries all the time. So one of the things I see really often is people will be like, well, I injured myself, so now I have to gain weight. I hear that a lot with my clients. Like, they're like, well, I can't do what I was doing. So then and that was like a thing. Like, they really believed that was true, that because they couldn't move the way that they were moving, their body had to then look a certain way. Like, they hardcore believe that. And then they created evidence for that. Have you had that happen? Or like, you're like, well, I can't move the way I used to move, so then I'm going to create evidence for that to match that. But you were conscious of the fact.
Well, and like honestly, To Be Mindset came out at like a perfect time because I had that mindfulness with it. And so like with that, I didn't really gain weight with it. It was more of like I just gained like summer weight of like with travel and like kind of just like fluctuated back up. But I'm like, okay, enough is enough. But I have some like turkey meatballs in the oven upstairs I have to take out before they burn.
No problem. So To Be Mindset came in and like basically saved her mindset. But where her mindset was without To Be Mindset would have probably been in, where were we just? Well, I have an injury now, so I have to, right? Instead of thinking of like, oh, I could use To Be Mindset and bring that into my life and stay where I'm at and stay consistent instead of finding a solution. There's always a way to move and you can always have control of it. Right, or if you can't move, some of my clients can't move. They're in pain. They literally cannot. Okay, so how do I make this work for me? I have this goal, right? The result I want is weight loss. Cool. So I need to take a new action. What's the new action I need to take? I can't take movement because movement's out of my life right now. What can I bring in? Okay, let me be conscious of what I'm eating. Okay, how do I have to feel and think to stick to this plan of food because movement is out of the question right now? Do you see how all of a sudden you have a formula for creating a result no matter what? Because your actions will have to change sometimes, you guys. Life happens. Like sometimes you're going to have to take a new action or change the action you're doing. But if you already know that that's going to require a shift in the way that you think, so you feel differently, you'll find the new action. You will automatically plug in the new action and you will still have your result. And so Jana's mindset was, okay, I'm going to use To Be Mindset. I'm going to stay on this. And then my goal is to go back to activity. So her brain was like, okay, my goal is to go back to activity. It's going to get her in a position where she can get back to activity. In July, she got back to activity. Now she's doing MM100. Do you know what a lot of my clients do? They go, oh my God, this injury. That's all they talk about. My injury, my injury, my injury, my injury. I can't walk. I can't do this. It hurts every time I turn and every time I this. And how many of you guys have seen that? Where all your clients do is complain about how much everything hurts, and that's all they focus on. And so that because that's where their thoughts are, guess what happens? They feel awful, and they take no action. Back to the same thing, affects their result. Yeah, To Be Mindset is like magical. For me, it was magical. Yeah, Jana was just sure. She's like, I know I'm going to get back to it. So her brain was like, yeah, we're going to get back to activity. So she created a pathway for her. Like literally because she was so certain, her body healed. Like that's, I'm not even kidding. Like that's how it works. She was so certain there was no other outcome for her. She created that outcome. But imagine if you took that same level of certainty and applied it to your business. Like you knew a shadow of a doubt that you were going to get here. Do you imagine your actions would be different and the way you think would be different? You already did it with your body. You already did that with your body. It's just transferring. It's the same thing. Well, shit. Now you just showed me I have to do it. Yeah, it's the same thing. But for some of us, it's easier in some areas than others, yeah? Some of us, we have way more evidence in one direction than the other. We have all this history showing us otherwise, so then we start to think, well, it's never happened before. Like, imagine if the person who invented a chair was like, well, it's never been a chair before. I'm in a chair today. Right? Or electricity. Oh, it's just been candles, straight up. So I guess we're just going to live that way forever. But that's what we do with our brains. Like, oh, I've never been diamond, so I guess it's never going to happen for me. Imagine if Thomas Edison said that. It took him literally a million tries to get a light bulb. Like, imagine if, like, try 3, he was like, this is stupid. Like, no one's ever going to have a light bulb. We'd be in a different place. Family. My thoughts are, I'm too busy with my kid. Family takes time to create. Okay. It takes time to create all this content. Okay. So when you think those thoughts, it leads to a feeling of overwhelm, correct? Kayla, I'm going to guess automatically that the feeling is overwhelm. That's the immediate feeling. And then the overwhelm leads you to shut down, correct? And then back away. That's the next action that you take. And then the result is your business doesn't progress. And then that result proves your thought true. that you're just too busy or too time consumed. Okay. So if I offered you an alternate thought that you could create content very quickly and very easily, if I told you that I spend like an hour a week creating content for my whole week, would you believe me? That's true, because it actually is. I do it in like 5-second pockets, but that's literally how long it takes me. Like, I have actual evidence that that's not true. And you could still do this. This is along the line of what you're talking about, Shakti. At the end of last year, I made a goal worksheet and included on that my why, deadline, habits I'd need to form and succeed, how I'd measure it, where my head needed to be, thoughts I'd have to think, potential challenges and how I'd handle them, etc. Yes, but here's the thing that happens with that is if I were to look at that list, who wrote this? Rachel, I'd have a heart attack if I wrote all that down on a sheet of paper. I'm one of those people, I get overwhelmed so easily. Overwhelm is my self-sabotage technique. So I have to keep things very simple for myself. I have to be like, thought, feeling, action, result, done, I'm out. If I start writing down goals, my head has to be here, this is where my obstacles are gonna be, I will literally go into like hyperventilation, like I can't do this. I'll just like back away. So you have to know your brain. You have to understand what your brain does. If overwhelm is your primary go-to feeling, you have to really watch all the thoughts that lead to overwhelm. And in fact, you know how you guys did food tracking? Yeah, To Be Mindset. My To Be Mindset people, you guys tracked food? It's going to be a homework assignment at the end of this video. I want you to track every feeling that leads to overwhelm in your life, right? If overwhelm is your go-to feeling or fear, like whatever that feeling is, for most of us, it's going to be overwhelm. Every time you feel that feeling for the next week, I just want you to write down what you're thinking. For everything. Maybe it's with your kids or with your job or with your business or whatever it is. I just immediately want you to document the thought. It's going to sound something like, this is too much. I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm not good enough. This is what it's going to sound like. It's always going to sound the same way. You have to know that. You have to know that the reason you feel overwhelmed is because of what you're thinking. Right now, you think it's too much. You think you don't have time, it's too much, and that's the dialogue, and you feel like you're reporting the news. No, Shakti, you don't understand. I'm very busy. I understand that you're very busy. Like, I get that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the circumstances of your life are not what they are. I'm saying that what you're choosing to think about the circumstances of your life are keeping you small. Your circumstances are what they are. Nobody's going to argue that. But what you think about them is literally dictating everything you're doing or not doing, and the result that you're getting or not getting. So I challenge you guys to really track your thoughts for this next week. Pay attention to what you're thinking when you drop into overwhelm. Watch yourself. The moment you watch yourself get overwhelmed and not send the invite, or get frustrated with your team, or like want to check out of your team, or want to check out of your challenge group, like watch yourself. Watch the feeling, watch the thought that's feeding that feeling. And challenge yourself to pick a new thought and generate a new feeling. I know this sounds so simplistic, and it is life-changing. Because what's happening is you guys are not seeing how under the radar some of these thoughts are, because you've said them to yourself for so long. It's like reporting the news. You literally feel like you're just like, the sun is out, the moon is out. Like, it's just a fact, right? Book recommendations for understanding this. Yeah, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That's a phenomenal book by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Yeah. Guys, I'm telling you, the only thing you need to change is how you think. I promise you. I would be willing to bet you $100 each that if you took that seriously enough, you would change your entire situation. It's the way the brain operates. How many of you guys are really going to track your thoughts for the next week? How many of you guys are really committed to that? I'm serious. Yes. Good. Good. You guys want change. Good. Can you do me a favor too? And I'll be looking for a thread in MisFIT Republic. So I will post a thread in there about like thought tracking, right? And I want you guys to share your experience of doing that even for a couple of days. Even like tomorrow and the day after, go like, you can look in a group, yeah, thought tracking, you could probably find that. I'll call it thought tracking. And I want you guys to go in there and I want you guys to post what you've discovered, okay? I want you, just like they said at Summit, we're in the business of transformation. The biggest transformation you guys need to make your business really fun and really successful is how you think. It won't happen when you get to where you think you're going to get. It's not like that. You need to feel it first before you have that. I'm going to put that in MisFIT Republic. So I'll do a thought tracking thread and you guys can share what you're learning about your thoughts in there. Does that sound good? We'll do I'll call it thought tracking. Share me what you've learned about your thoughts. And then underneath that, you guys can do comments. Anybody else want to share a thought? We have 5 more minutes. I know I'm holding you guys, but I really want you guys to take advantage of understanding how this works. If there's an example yet where you don't know how to apply what I'm talking about, or you still feel like you don't have clarity on a thought, share a thought in the chat box so I can reframe that for you and show you how it works. It works for everything. And I want you guys to practice this with your challengers. Like, go to your people who are like really struggling right now and see if you can coach them. I mean, you're a coach. Help them understand what they're thinking. Just pick one challenger, one person that you're working with right now, maybe one coach on your team, and see if you can help them understand where their thoughts are. I can pretty much promise you, you're going to be amazed at how much clarity you get by just helping them with this simple exercise. You will be working with this person, and you'll be like, I don't know how to motivate them, and they're going to give you an in just by asking them this question. How am I going to share that I'm coaching again? Perfect. In order for you to share that you're coaching, that's an action. Post that I'm a coach again. Make an open for business post. Maybe some of you guys haven't even done that, okay? How do you have to feel like really excited about doing that? Like, what is that feeling that you want to feel to make that post, to like make that announcement? Share that. Excitement. Okay. Can I offer you a new one? Let me offer you a twist on this for any of you guys who are in this position. Maybe you did it for a while, then you quit and you're like embarrassed. The reason you're scared to share that you're coaching again is because you're embarrassed. Yay? You're like, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? That's your thought. You see how I just did that? I just found your thought. Your thought is, what are they going to think about me? I'm a flake. All right? How embarrassing. Do you know what I do? I embarrass myself first. Because no one can call me out on anything if I call myself out. Yay or nay? So you know what I do in those posts? I'm like, yeah, I quit. I got fed up. You know what I got fed up with? My mind. I let my mind play tricks on me. I've done it with my food. I've been like, yeah, I regained weight. You know why? Because I started emotional eating again because I wasn't watching my thoughts. I gave in. You guys understand that that emotion you're trying to hide from, that embarrassment, that shame, that's the gift. You turn that sucker around and you claim that feeling that you're afraid you're going to feel because other people are going to project something on you, and you spin it to your favor, and you are untouchable because no one's going to come at you with anything. When you are honest with yourself and you make that public, what are they going to say? How dare you be real about your emotional eating? What a jerk. How dare you be real about being a flake in your own business? What? Didn't even give you an opportunity to call you out. No one's going to say that. You're going to be like, dang, this girl's legit. Like, she's real right now. She's telling some truth. Right? Truth is powerful. Even when you think it's going to make you look bad. It doesn't. It makes you look strong. This is really important. Understand the reason you're not doing something is because you have a story and you're avoiding a feeling. If you just own that feeling, you turn that around, Think a new thought, gold. So how you share that you're coaching again is you just tell the truth. I'm coaching again. Quit. Like I got sick of my own shit and now I'm back. I'm strong and I understand why I quit. It's the same reason my clients quit losing weight or quit doing this. I understand why I did that. And I'm committed to thinking a new thought and doing a new thing. Boom. Get at me now. I can't. Congratulations, you just made an open for business post. Yeah? You guys are funny. You're the best. I hope that at the very least this was entertaining, and at the very best it was really insightful. That's my hope for this hour that I've spent with you. Okay. Oh, Lauren, you're so sweet. Thank you. Maybe I will just do that. Maybe I will. So I want you guys to walk away with the understanding that results are what you want, and you need to find your way to your result. You need to find your thought to your feeling to your action to your result. This is an adventure of transformation. This is going to require that you transform from the person you are right now to the person that you want to be, and it's exciting. You guys should be pumped that you get to track your thoughts, because I just gave you the secret. And if you take this seriously, the next time that we meet again on the call, you guys are going to have a very different story to tell me, and I'm excited about that. Okay, this is really magic. This is as close to magic as you guys are going to touch. So take it and really run with that. Really do something with it. All right, who's pumped about this? It's late as hell, and I'm still pumped. I'm pumped right now. I'm going to have to run around for a while because I have energy. So let's take a picture. I want to see pumped faces. I'll share it in the group. Let's see some pumped MisFIT faces. Yes. You guys are all beautiful. Congratulations. Did anybody else take a picture? Who else take a picture? Yes? Awesome. I will share that. Share your pictures here in the thread. I'm going to do the track your thoughts thread. If you guys have any questions for me, you can tag me in your post, Miss Republic. I'm happy to answer them. Okay? Take this energy, take this enthusiasm, really work on yourselves more than anything else. I promise you guys it will yield you a result. Okay? Thank you guys. Have an amazing night. Thanks for hanging with me for this whole hour. Bye.